U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Husker Hoops just wrapped up as Williams turns the corner. 2 more into the line. A chance for 3, Bryce Williams. Hustle down to the block, post up, and go to work now on 93.7 The Ticket. And the offensive rebound. Berke Butunjo. The post-game post-up is sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, and Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits.
There's a CJ, same spot, same result. He is red hot. A CJ ahead half court. Ulis good if it goes, and it counts. Aaron Ulis with a half court 3.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in to the Husker Hoops post-game post-up. Nebraska basketball, they dropped this one. They lose it to USC at home at that 78-73. Real quick here, I want to shout out our sponsors, Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, Electrical, and Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits. All right, Strick, I think people want to probably get your thoughts first here. You guys are welcome to join in. 402-464-5685, as well as to see people on YouTube already firing in the comments. Strick, what are your thoughts on this? Make it 5 straight losses now for the Huskers.
5 straight, two straight. It's been since February of 2022 since they've lost 2 at home, and you lose close ones. And as Kriha Film says, a big problem for this team is when they have droughts late and they just can't get the stops that is needed. And I hate to be a broken record, Harrison. I really do. We ain't gonna hold y'all too long tonight because I really don't want to be a broken record, Harrison, but I have to in some instances because I have to drill down on this situation. All things being equal, I say this a lot. You look at the stats. A lot of stuff is equal. Both teams shoot terribly. The sad part about the terrible shooting is that once again, Nebraska finds himself for the game just not able to knock any threes down. We know that when that's the case, there's a big struggle there. You're under 30% again for the game. Not only that, but you're
they were almost below 20%.
You're not yeah, right? It's a sad day. But here's the thing. USC goes 0 for 9. You got them looking really bad about themselves. And the next thing you know is guys that only hit 2 3-pointers all season goes off and hits almost what he hit 5 or 6 for the game. Was it
for 3-pointer 4 for 6?
Right? Yeah. AG goes 4 for 6. And he ain't did nothing like that all year. Now, you gave him the looks. It's because, you allow Claude to get deep penetration pause throughout the evening. But all things being equal, you allowed that to take precedence. Here's another sad thing. I think you hustled. I think they hustled. I mean, they dove for loose balls. They got hands on balls. I don't like Bryce Williams' body language, but I'm not gonna say he's not playing. I just don't like the body language as a leader. Like there's just no take charge in him as a leader. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just know for myself, there's times where wherever I had to take charge, if it was on the defensive side, if I had to lead the charge, if it's on the offensive side, if I needed a post or get us an easy bucket or an easy shot, I was going to try to find a way to do that. But my body language wasn't going to be in this manner. Go ahead. You was about to say something.
Yeah, no, and especially at the end there, just, and I'm not, Bryce Williams did a lot to keep us in this game at the very end there, but keep that swagger, man. Like, keep shooting. No, I'm the same way. I don't want to see your head down. Like, dude's a phenomenal player. Go win the damn ball game. Like, I don't want to see, heads hanging low and stuff. And I'm not criticizing the guys too much. I do think they fought hard, but yeah, for a guy like Bryce Williams, it's just that body language. It's not the end of the world. Like, you see it all the time. My favorite players have done it at times. But you're a damn good player. Like, you just gotta, especially after turnover, like, you gotta do everything you can to move on from that one. I do want to bring this text up because we talked about it on We Talk Facts, and you look at the schedule ahead here, and I just want to mention this real quick and get your thoughts on it. Because we got on the road versus a ranked Wisconsin. We got at home versus a ranked Illinois. We got on the road versus ranked Oregon. And it's not fun if you look ahead here in the near future. And Cubsker chimed in. Whoever texted in on We Talk Facts the other day, we won't win another game in the month of January. I think they're going to be absolutely right. Brutal. Is that anywhere real for you yet?
I thought with a few of the home games, I thought with Rutgers, I thought that one, I thought with this one, and now it's Kenny Loggins. And I hate to say it's Kenny Loggins right now. And when I say it's Kenny Loggins, he had a very, very famous song on a few good movies that had Tom Cruise in it called Highway to the Danger Zone. That's what you're looking at right now, is a big highway to the danger zone, my boy. Trouble in paradise. And you see, that's why the home wins are so important, Harrison.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
You're not just talking about a regular Big Ten structure now. You might be able to get in late, catch a run, get hot. Bruh, if you ain't in the top 15, you outie 5G.
Well, that's just it. As Dave Harris on
now
YouTube
you're at the bottom of the barrel.
17.
You're at the bottom of the barrel with 3 ranked teams, and what, 2 of them on the road?
Yeah, 2 of them on the road.
Bruh, it's not looking good for you. And look, real talk. Minnesota's playing good ball right now. They won 2 of their last, and they had to go on the road and in Iowa City and beat where you wasn't able to go and do. And they're below you right now.
And a good Michigan.
So for me, man, huh?
I said, and a good Michigan team. Like, Minnesota's putting it together right now.
It's rough and tumble.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do? It's
a
broken record,
again,
right?
Again, one other point. That's what I was about to get back to, Harrison. The broken record is all things being equal. Yes, they hustle. Stats, they shoot 29%. You shoot 21. 5 for 24, 6 for 21. 82% from the free throw line for both of them. 17 free throws for you, 22 for them. All right. You shoot 49% thanks to Juwan Gary, who was on the attack tonight. Again, the problem is you saw multiple instances USC was able to get easy opportunities by way of penetration. It's like when they penetrate to the basket, they're able to find guys for dunks.
Mm-hmm.
Juwan was individually getting to the basket and finishing. Jail finishing. Essegian turning the quarter, which really was a dang near turnover that just turned into a good opportunity. Turn the corner. Individual stuff. Maybe 1 or 2 times you found guys finding an open person cutting to the lane. Very rare. Not many times you see them getting easy opportunities. So there, you look at that. But you let a team, Harrison, and I'm gonna let you talk. But I just wanted to get through this specific point. You let a team that doesn't really have front court presence. St. Thomas at 6'7" is like their 4 for them. He's like their 4-man.
They have 3 guards and 2 forwards in the starting lineup.
Right. They don't have front court presence.
How many shots did Braxton Mia get tonight, Eric Strickland?
Of course. Well, we've been talking about that. He is a non-factor. What do they call it? A persona non grata. That's what's going on. Braxton Mia is a persona non grata for the team. He can't really pass because you saw a couple of good backdoor cuts. If that was rink mass, it's a dime. It's a diaper dandy dime, right? None of that happens. So Mia is not non-factor. Here, you let them out rebound you, my guy. They out rebounded you
a lot.
So that tells me that's something else, especially on the offense. And then the other part is things equal, steals. Steals are pretty much equal across the board. But guess what they do? You have 11 turnovers. They have 9. They have how many steals? How many steals they have?
They had 8 steals, 6, but it's also what they're doing with the steals, right? Because you look at it, 16 points.
Exactly.
We get
there
6.
You go. There you go. There you go. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's little stuff, but it's meaningful stuff because it's happened when the game's on the line and when it matters.
Strick, I'll ask you this: how do you bounce back from this? The locker room, 5 straight. How do you turn it around? There's a lot of season left. Like, that's the part. There's season left to play here. It's not over unless you want it to be. What do you do?
Bruh, I've been there. And it was looking real bleak. A lot of heads were down. We had a meeting, man. It was a knockdown drag out, Harrison. We went together and we was able to look each other in the face, and we kind of knew what the beast was. There was kind of some clicks starting, this click over here. That when we started the season, we was like 11-1. We started the season, we would go out together, we would meet, go bowling, we would meet, go get something to eat, we would meet, go have a few drinks, whatever it was. We got together. Then all of a sudden we kind of started clicking. They were starting these clicks. And the next thing you know, it was a lot of freeze out. Like guys wasn't, playing hard for each other. The first team, man, we come into practice and get ran by the second team. And that was the closest I ever gotten to wanting to quit, bro. I'm not a quitter, but that was like the closest I almost walked out. I'm like, I don't want to play with none of them MFers. I'm not busting my butt. I don't want to play with none of them. I almost walked off. Shout out to Jeff Smith. If it wasn't for Jeff Smith, I'd probably been gone. Like he had to talk me back out of it. But we got into a meeting, Harrison, and we looked each other in the face, man. And we like, look, we know what's going on. All this click stuff, that's got to end right now. Look, if there's some stuff that needs to happen, if we need the box right here in this room, if we need to air something out, if whatever comes out right now, whatever happens right now, the minute we walk out of it, we was at, I can't remember whose apartment we was. We was at one of our teammates' apartment, and we're in there all together. And next thing you know, we said, if we got a box, if we got to, go fist, if we got to do all of that, we're going to end it right here. And when we walk out, we walking out as a team. We're not doing this anymore. And that was the point where we turned around. We had a couple of good fights in our last couple of games, won a couple. Then we lost in the Big Ten tournament. I think the Kansas State, real, tough. We played real good though. It wasn't like, they beat the brakes off of us. And then the NIT shows up, and that's when we was like, yo, it's on. And they got to have a moment where they are able to look each other. But here's the problem: I don't know who their leader is.
Tonight it was Juwan Gary. Like that's the part where it's swaps
on court.
On court, it's
on court. I don't know nobody that can take somebody by the shirt and say, "Dang, bro, I need you." Like, stop playing with me right now. I need you. Like, I don't know who that person is.
You can't force it, right? You can't ever force, but it needs to be Bryce Williams at this point, or somebody. Just we're at a point like. You can have Fred Hoiberg. We can talk X's and O's. We can keep going through the box score. We can keep going through all these individual stats. At a certain point in time, when you go through multiple games where the box scores look really close, the only difference is those last 3 minutes. That's a personality and want to or a lack of confidence.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing about this basketball team right now is that it's not, the entire game. It's those crunch time minutes where things just fall apart. Someone on YouTube shouted out, and they're right. It's can't get stops. Get a little tight on offense, sloppy turnovers, looking around, who should take this next shot? Is it Bryce? Is it Connor? Is it Juwan? He's having a good day. And they got to figure out the confidence. You saw that last year. last year, that confidence was unwavering. You saw Rink Bass was kind of the guy that led it a lot of times early. And I think that helped going right at Zach Edey in that Purdue game, just understanding that this is a game where we're going to have to go attack and act like we belong right away. And for whatever reason, that fades away for Nebraska in those last few minutes. That's what it looks like to me. Or do you think it's X's and O's, or what are you seeing here at the end particular moments where this thing just seems to slip right out of our hands?
I mean, I'm not going to say it's fully X and O's because I just think it's personnel. I think I really do, man. I think it's the personnel. I saw him try to mix it up and throw Ulis in the game, yeah. But he doesn't really give you much. I mean, he gives you some defense. Then Worcester, he's shooting balls on the side of the backboard. Makes a couple of nice moves, but no finish. You know what I mean? But then there's no offensive rebound. There's no attack. This team doesn't have size. They attacked more than we did. They were challenging defensive rebounds more than we did, and that tells me something. That tells me that there's a lack of go-get. So I'm not going to say it's X and O's, but I'm going to say it's X and O's. And I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but here's why I say it's personnel matched up with a style of play that doesn't match. And that's where the issue is. They're running a style of offense that doesn't, you'll get a season for a few. Yeah, they were able to use it to get curl action with Juwan Gary to get him attacking downhill. But then once they figure that out, nothing comes easy. When it gets late in the game, when it gets crunch time, you saw that you saw even the guy that doesn't shoot threes, the confidence he had with 2 seconds left on the doggone shot clock to take that three. That's a dagger shot. That's a dagger shot. He had the confidence to take it. Whereas on the other hand, Raleigh Worcester has the same type of shot in the corner, and it's Brick City. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about Jersey. It's Brick City up there.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't have guys that, even though they're not playing well, looking good, don't do what they do. Sometimes they just don't show up with the big one when it matters.
Yeah, I mean, and this is last thing I'll kind of hammer home about those end results. The thing tonight that did, I'm not mad at the players, but just like watching it infuriated, it pissed me off a little bit. This USC team has multiple guys that play 40 minutes every game. How does that team got more energy at the end of the stretch? You're telling me,
right?
Thomas,
right?
Thomas, 38 minutes. Claude, 40 minutes. 39 minutes. Frogbo, Yates, 32 minutes. No one on their bench played really outside of Gee with 22. Otherwise, there was just 3 guys outside of that got on the bench for a total of 11 minutes. They don't stub anybody. Those guys played the entire damn game for the most part, and they beat us on the boards. They beat us,
and they outran you. And they outran you.
More turnover points.
That's what transition, right?
Everything that says we would have the advantage in terms of these guys' legs are going to fall out from underneath them. You would have thought that, Worcester played 40 minutes.
And went on the road.
Legs underneath. So again, it's tough because I know this team wants to win more than I do, but it's a confidence thing at this point. Like, you can't just draw plays. Like, at some point, someone's going to want to make the shot and be the hero. It doesn't have to be Bryce, doesn't have to be Juwan, doesn't have to be Connor. Like, Booster, that's your moment. You got to drill that thing. And just sloppy stuff at the end there. I'm beating on the drum a lot, Strickland. Yeah, give me some other points here. Anything else you know us from tonight? Real quick, shout out to the person who did win tonight. Hell of a putt. Got himself a Porsche.
There we go. That was the thing of the theme of the night was the Porsche from the putt. And then $500 for half court shot. Everybody else was in but Nebraska.
Wait, we got a half court shot too?
Yeah, the guy shot a half court shot, won $500.
All right, I missed that. Yeah, okay, we could have used some of that luck. Looks like we just gave it all to the fan base that night.
The fan base came up, man.
At least someone's playing good in the ball right now. I will leave it to the fans.
It's crazy.
Strickland, I'll ask you this. Looking at this next stretch here ahead as we wait for Austin Orman, when he hops in here, I'm sure he's at the press conference. You look at these next 3 games: Wisconsin, road; Illinois, home; Oregon, road. Like, what do you need to do to stay alive? Just those 3 games right there. You gotta win. One at
I think
least.
you got to win. I think you got to win. I think you got to win 2. And because you put yourself in this position. If you want to have any opportunity, if you want to have okay, you know, when someone goes into the army or goes to war or they get shot or they're in the army or they're a SEAL and they've gotten shot. They shoot them with adrenaline, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yep.
They shoot them with adrenaline just to give them enough to kind of, stay in the fight. Some form of a stimulant. And the text line of y'all can help me if I'm out, if I'm off. But that's where it looks like Nebraska's at right now. They look like they're dead, right? They look like they're hurt, they're wounded, they're shot. They've been in war. They got exposed. They're behind enemy lines. However you want to put the picture. You watched all the movies. You've seen all the shows. And then you win 2 games. It's like a shot. It's like a shot. It's that adrenaline shot. Otherwise, all you're doing is putting a tourniquet on it, my boy, and you're bleeding out. You know what I'm saying? And all they're trying to do right now, Harrison, is look you in your face and tell you, keep your eyes open. You don't want to be in that situation. You don't want the tourniquet with your eyes. You need to get to the hospital so you can get the wound healed. Whatever that is, they need this adrenaline shot. These next 3 games is an opportunity to get an adrenaline shot. Go on the road and show you can prove yourself worthy to win against a ranked team on the road. 1, come back home, get you another one. 2, and then go back out and give it all you got and see how you come out. Right now I think they're 3rd, probably 4th in it was 1-score games. That last score cost
4.
It
would have been 4, but
it would have been 4. But they're like 3rd in the Big Ten in losing. It's because, man, I'm telling you, they just don't really have somebody that can go make things easy for them. Like if you're gonna have those type of guys, you can help off for days off of Worcester and Euless, right? So even if Bryce has the ball, guess what? He's gonna have to take a shot. But now you're playing against the USC team that can switch everybody because all of them are the same side. They all move their feet well and play pretty good defense. So you getting to your mid-range is not going to work. You setting screens is not going to work. So you have to have somebody that can break down the defense. It might be you, but you got to be able to count on a Worcester. You got to be able to count on you got to be able to count on one of those guys hit a shot because they're not coming off a season. They may kind of stunt off of Gary, but even Gary hasn't shown late that he can hit a big one. He's shown early he can hit a big one, but I ain't seen nothing late. None of those guys on that roster outside of a season, maybe Hoiberg and Bryce that have capable because Berutagel stuff is broke too right now. So they only have maybe 2 guys that can shoot it, but they don't have no one that can set them up for it. Because there's no one you're going to play on. So it's a weird combination. That's why I said, Harrison, it's weird because you have this team, but the team isn't built for what you have this team do. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird thing. I said it earlier in a different way. I can't remember how I said it. But it come off like an oxymoron because it's weird like that for some reason.
Yeah, well, and again, like when you're at this point in the season, the bright side is there's a hell of an opportunity in front of you. Like if you want to change the narrative, you get the opportunity to do it immediately. If you want to
Real
get
quick.
this off your back, here you go. There's 3 ranked opponents coming your way. You're tired of everyone talking about Nebraska basketball. You want to go on this YouTube feed and look at all the comments. Go win these games. Like there has to be that mentality. Like almost to the point where like I want the players to be fired up and upset that the fan base thinks this way of them right now. Like you need an edge. Like maybe that's what they're missing. It's just some sort of edge factor where enough's enough This program's turning the corner. This is the year. I know it's not great right now. We're going to go win the damn March Madness game this year and be done with it and get this off our back. Bryce Williams, Juwan Gary, you guys you didn't come back to do this, right? So you got 3 ranked opponents. Like, to me, as a coach, that's how I try to sell it. What would you tell the guys?
Well, so for me, like I look at what Dale's saying, right? Dale said you're not beating Wisconsin. You're not beating Wisconsin. You're not beating Illinois. That's reality. Now, so that's what a lot of people were saying about USC before they went in there and got them. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's gettable. I think actually I really do believe in the Big Ten. I think anybody can get got. And usually it can happen at home. Most of those teams that are very top echelon, top tier, they're not going to lose too many at home. It's going to be very rare that they lose at home. Because they understand that with a Big Ten or with a big SEC, that home matters. And they're a lot of their focus is, straight Under Armour. We protect this house. And so that's how they remain. How they remain top tier is that they say, okay, Illinois may be tough. We may come out there with a loss, but go fight. Let's go fight. We got Nebraska. Let's go get that one.
Yep.
They down right now. Ooh, we got Northwestern. Ooh, we got to go get that one. That's the one. So you got to look at your schedule and look at games where you, as a staff and as a team, where you look at those games, you like, that's the one we got to get. That's the one that's going to push us into the top tier of the Big Ten. And you get enough of those, you get 4 of those or 3-4 of those, and then boom, you sneak one against the Michigan State or something. Woo! Now we talking about something. That's how you do it, man. But the lower tier teams, if you can't take care of home, that's how Nebraska was able to be 3rd in the conference last year. They took care of home and went and stole a few of those things on the road.
That's how you got to do it. You got to protect home in the Big Ten. And like, if you want to, keep the spirits up, like you can go quick look at the women's basketball team. They went on the road. They got their butts kicked in a tough stretch, losing. And then they go win a big one. It's on the road. Britt Prince is the edge factor. Enough. Step back 3. We're sending an OT. We're going to go win this damn game. That's the edge. Britt Prince, everybody knows Britt Prince is going to she's going to take the shot. Make it or miss it, she's going to take the damn shot. And that's just kind of, even as a freshman, she's got that swagger. So I guess, that's my kind of end of caveat. I'm not completely selling on this Husker team. A lot of great games, opportunity ahead, but I do see we got our man Austin Norman in here. So I'm going to swap out Strick. I'm going to let you guys cut it up to go ahead and wrap this thing up here.
Austin Norman, he is.
How's it going?
And we've been going buck wild. And listen, Austin, the YouTube stream is buck nasty right now. They going in. And you might be able to catch some of it in due time, or we can run back over it. But Lord, it's no bueno. But let me tell you in caveat before you give us the rundown, the lowdown, and the heavy D of what went down. Pause. What went down from the coaching staff. Because here's the thing, I keep telling the listeners, man, that I feel like I'm a broken record. That I keep looking at these stat sheets and I don't want to have to go through them. Shout out to Bryce Williams going for 17 tonight, 5 for 12, 2 for 8 from 3, struggled there. Juwan Gary for 27, and then Asija for 15, going 5 for 8, 3 from 6. And on the other side, Claude goes for 21, Thomas goes for 11, Yates goes for 17, and then they got a unusual 14 out of AG, who goes 4 for 6, who hadn't hit but 2 threes all year. So that's that in a nutshell. Then you look at the full stats, and we've talked about this, Austin. There's commonalities. Shooting percentages, even. 3-point percentage, even. Free throws, even. We talk all day about those things, and then you get to something that kind of, blows your mind. You have some turnovers. Turnovers for them, 9. Turnovers for you, 11. But they get 16 points off of turnovers to your 6. A team that doesn't even have a center gets more rebounds than you, especially on the offensive side. So we're seeing those differentiators, and then there's something that they did that's a little bit different than Nebraska, and that's getting easy opportunities in big moments of the game and making big shots when it matters. That's why Nebraska's coming up short in these games right now. Talk to us about what you heard.
Oh boy, Stricky. First of all, good to see a partner. Good to see your face.
Yeah.
Good to hear from you. Glad your travel went well. And someone won a Porsche tonight. So that's really all I got from people. No, I'm kidding. You touched on a lot. There's a lot going on with this Husker team, and the lot going on is that there's not much going on the offensive end or on the defensive end. Fred Hoiberg.
The magic number for them, USC. The magic number for them.
75.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And voila. Go ahead.
They hit it. When Fred Hoiberg took the podium after Bryce and Juwan spoke, you could tell that those two leaders were of the same mind as Fred Hoiberg, right? They're hearing what he's saying. It comes down to toughness. It comes down to 50-50 balls. It comes down to grittiness. And obviously not a good shooting night for Nebraska overall. Leave a few points at the free throw line, but you get doubled up on the offensive glass, give up quite a few second chance points, 9 of them. The turnovers, right, Strick, that's something that Nebraska hasn't been able to capitalize on nearly the same. When USC got turnovers, got takeaways early, they were able to get out on the break, get some easy points in transition and build a lead that way. Nebraska's turnovers, outside of the occasional Sam Hoiberg, jump-starting a fast break, Nebraska doesn't get as many live ball turnovers and doesn't capitalize on them when they do. So there's easy points right there. Nebraska, the first few guys that took threes weren't Connor Esiason or Bryce Williams. It was Juwan Gary, Berke Boyukton-Gel, who you love a coach that instills his players with confidence, but Juwan and Berke are not movement shooters. And those were some of the first shots those guys took. Which is not exactly what Nebraska is going for. Really, Strick, I think it comes down to like what Fred Hoiberg was saying, the toughness. But even that, Strick, if that's what Fred Hoiberg says, that's what he says. I don't know if I would believe it or diagnose it the same way. What I think it is a coach that's trying to find anything to say other than the roster isn't good enough. Plain and simple, that's what it comes down to right now for Nebraska. If you look at USC, like you said, no true center. Cohen didn't play a lot in the second half. AG played the 5 a lot for them. He hits a career high 4 3-pointers. His career high was 3 against Illinois earlier in the year. So that's a role player that stepped up and made shots. You look at Clark Slikert, right? A guy that had played like 75 seconds all year, comes in, plays just about 10 minutes, goes 3 of 6, cans a big 3 with someone directly in his grill. You look at St. Thomas, right? All over the place. Was a pretty good player for them. Wesley Yates got the party started early for USC. Chibuzo Agbo did score from the field, only hit 2 free throws, but had 9 rebounds and was a defensive presence, right? Those are role guys that played better for USC than Berke Boyukton-Gel did for Nebraska, than Andrew Morgan did for Nebraska. Connor Esiason scored some points, was a plus 12, but after that first half, USC had him solved, had him figured out. So USC's role players were better. USC's role guys stepped up and made shots. But even more than that, or along the same lines as that, Strick, it wasn't just the role guys that beat Nebraska, right? We talked about that after Rutgers. Martini stepped up and hit some shots. But it was also the Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey show down the stretch. And what USC decided to do in the last 10 minutes of the game was give the ball to Desmond Claude. That's a junior who's played a lot of college basketball, who's played it at a high level, transfers in from Xavier, is a really good player. And USC figured out that Nebraska didn't have an answer for him. He was quicker than Raleigh Wooster. He could beat Nebraska's guards over screens. He could beat Nebraska's bigs even in the drop coverage. And when he wasn't looking to shoot, he could kick out to AG, who, again, had the game of his life. But we saw tonight, Strick, that was on perfect display. The difference between Desmond Claude as a Big Ten lead guard and Bryce Williams as a Big Ten lead guard. Desmond Claude has a better handle. Desmond Claude is a better passer. Desmond Claude is just a little bit more natural handling the ball. Bryce Williams is being asked to do a little bit more than he's capable of. getting the reps he did last year on the ball and handling it, you would have hoped would have paid off more dividends in a game like this. Desmond Claude was able to take over because he could more easily create a look, and partly because Nebraska didn't have anyone consistently athletic enough to stay with him. He diagnosed Nebraska's coverage, and Fred Hoiberg said they mixed it up a little bit. Didn't matter. He sliced and diced it up. Bryce Williams isn't quite as quick as Desmond Claude. The handle is a little bit looser. And yeah, Bryce Williams ends up with 17 points for Nebraska's second leading scorer on the day. Has a couple of personal 5-0 runs that came in pretty big moments. But Bryce Williams also didn't score for the first 18 minutes of the game. That's a problem, right? When Nebraska needs a bit of a boost offensively, he didn't score. Yes, USC was making his life difficult, but Nebraska didn't have answers to get Bryce Williams the ball early. And when they did, it didn't necessarily work out. So we're seeing the limitations of Nebraska's role players compared to other guys across the league. And we're also seeing the limitations of Nebraska's top dogs to guys across the league, right? I don't know if it's more on the players or more on the coaching, but we're on a 5-game losing streak. Everyone's got to dig deep. Everyone's got to take a second look in the mirror, ask what they are doing, what they're not doing, and how it has to get better, because plain and simple, it's not good enough. You know, not that I have the exact answers for Nebraska, but right now it looks like nobody has the answers for Nebraska, and that's a little bit worrying.
Yeah, and that's in a nutshell kind of what we've been saying, because here's the thing, Austin, and then we'll get out of here and let everybody, because it's really not much we've been like a broken record. But here's the thing. They've got 3 games against ranked opponents ahead of them, 2 of them on the road. What do they need to do to revamp this situation? Because right now they're looking like an ouster for the Big Ten tournament.
And that is crazy to think about, that Nebraska could honestly miss the Big Ten tournament. For those who don't know, 15 teams get invited out of the 18 teams in the conference. Al on YouTube, Austin, do you still think Nebraska wins a game in January? I was the one predicted it last week. No more wins in January. It's looking less likely. But also, we saw Minnesota take down Michigan. Minnesota is the worst team in the conference. I know it feels like Nebraska is right now, but it's been Minnesota all year. They took down a team that was super hot in Michigan, right? USC, this USC team beat Illinois. A really good Illinois team. Yeah. Illinois is still trying to find itself right now. So I don't want to come out, predict doom and gloom and say, yep, Nebraska is screwed. Nebraska is not winning another game in January. But with each passing game, Strick, you only get 3 more opportunities this month. And like you said, all against ranked opponents, 2 of them on the road and 1 against a team that, you know, might be the worst matchup for Nebraska in the conference this side of Purdue. It's not looking likely. I wouldn't bet anything on Nebraska winning a game the rest of January right now. I'm not going to write it off. You hope that this team is able to bounce back and find something. But I know we're coming up on the end here. That, to me, Strick, was probably the most disappointing part of all of this. Is think back to the last time Nebraska was here at home against Rutgers, right? Rutgers had the 2 best players on the floor in that game in Harper and Bailey. USC had the best player on the floor tonight in Desmond Claude. It hasn't been that long, but it's been long enough that you would have hoped Nebraska would have found an answer to a lack of athleticism or to a lack of playmaking at home in what was essentially a must-win game for Nebraska. Again, you only have 12 games left in the regular season. Time's winding down. You do still have a lot of opportunities to win games, but you would have liked to have won this game at home, drawing on the lessons from the last time you lost at home. Rutgers came in and ended a 20-game home winning streak in Big Ten games. And now you're on a 2-game losing skid because you weren't able to take the lessons from Rutgers and apply them against USC when you got back home in your own building. Now you go to the Kohl Center, a place you haven't always played well, and things don't feel good for Nebraska right now. Everyone is searching for answers, this team included. There are no easy solutions. There are no simple solutions. I don't envy the position that Fred Hoiberg is in right now. I still trust him. You know, I still think he's a darn good basketball coach, but I know Nick and I are going to have a lot of conversations tomorrow during On the Block for, okay, just how disappointing is the collapse that Nebraska's on right now. And it sucks to have to look forward to next season, but I think that's the only appropriate recourse right now. It does feel like a lot is slipping out of Nebraska's grip, and there's not anything available on the roster for them to switch up in order to make any meaningful change and impact on how the end of the season goes.
There it is. We're gonna get out of your hair. We ran through a break. We should have probably taken a break, but we wanted to make sure that we get you on and allow you to drop your mojo. Harrison, how does that look, man? Or do you want us to come back and finish it off with an extra one? Tell us how you want us to go down.
No, I think Husker Nation's ready to rest their head and think about the next one and get over this one. I think that's kind of the state of this Husker basketball program. Shout out to everybody joining us for the Husker basketball postgame show as they lose to USC. What's the next one, guys, before we wrap up here?
Wisconsin, Sunday afternoon.
We'll see you then. Sunday afternoon. You can join us again on Talk Some More Husker Hoops. Hopefully they get a win in that one. That's going to wrap it up for Ticket Weeknights. Enjoy the rest of your day.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just